The TV show House, a series about medical mysteries that have to be solved. It's had moments that have made us laugh, made us cry, and made us question human behaviour. It has had many characters in the series, doctors who work alongside House to help him solve medical puzzles. But there is one character that is someone who I enjoyed on screen, but also needed to make a video about. Someone who in real life is a warning sign for everyone to be aware of, to those who we know and care about. And this character is Kutner. For those of you who have never watched House, Kutner was introduced to the series in Season 4, Episode 2. And straight away we learn they have an eager and energetic energy to them, but also a thrill to put themselves in needless danger. Within the first episode, they used paddles on a patient who had a cardiac incident after the sprinkler system went off, shocking them. In fact, I believe he does this twice in the series. We also learn early on that he is a foster child, and that his mum and dad were murdered when he was a child. Little details like this are hidden details to the character of Kutner, which leads to Season 5, a season that is filled with very tragic themes. It is mainly juxtaposed with House's pain. In Season 5, Episode 8, we have an episode about a parentless teenager who is very secretive about their life, telling lie after lie. One lie that is not YouTube friendly, but also turns out to be a lie, which angers Kutner, for it put his job at risk, especially when he was putting so much faith in this patient. Only to reveal the real truth that she blames herself for her brother's death, as she was meant to look after him. I feel that in Kutner's caring and kind view of people, it really shook his faith in people a little. In Episode 9, House and 13, aka Dr. Hadley, get taken hostage in the hospital, and with House's obsessive nature, puts people at risk, and later in the episode, he gives back the man his gun just so he could get the answer to the puzzle. That's seriously messed up, because again, 13 is given drugs as a test subject that could do her serious harm. Side note, 13 has Huntington's disease, so these drugs have a chance of seriously killing her, as well as lowering her life expectancy. And this leads into Episode 10, where things really start to go wrong. You see, Kutner made a medical website to help people. However, he was using the name of Dr. House, which is fraud, and that is true, and is brought up later. Anyway, Kutner confesses to Dr. Taub that he has a patient that is ill, and he is using House's name on the website. To which Taub straight away says, "I could tell House, or you can cut me in for 25% and we can work on this together." So I can only imagine the stress that must have put Kutner under. Later on, the patient shows up in the hospital, so Taub and Kutner take her to get examined, but things keep going wrong. The patient is getting worse. So Taub and Kutner go to Dr. Chase, who used to work for Dr. House. Chase decides he will help them, but they also must pay him 25% of the proceeds of the case, which again adding more pressure onto Kutner's shoulders, only for the patient to die. House meets with Taub and Kutner in the morgue, shouting at them for their fraud and their failure to save this patient, only to reveal this was one massive prank by House. The patient wasn't dead, they were play acting, which scares both Taub and Kutner. Kutner learns his lesson and agrees to shut the website down, only for House to go, "No, keep it up, it's brilliant, but I take 50% of the revenue for using my name," which means Kutner gets nothing and is forced to keep the website up, which is seriously messed up. I can only imagine the untold stress and trauma of being pranked like that would put on someone. Which leads to Episode 11. Kutner lets out a lot of anger in this episode. In this episode, a schoolgirl called Natalie collapses at a school Christmas carol, only to reveal she was drugged with mushrooms by the girls in her class. She was being bullied by these girls. They get these mushrooms from a kid called Simon, who would turn out to be the girl's boyfriend at one point, but Natalie broke it off because she got pregnant but did not tell Simon. and wanted to handle things herself, which made her isolated and an easy target for bullying. The girl sadly is dying from sepsis and liver failure, from giving birth in an unclean environment. To everyone who thinks Kutner lets out this anger because he was bullied when he was younger are wrong. Because at the end of the episode, Kutner visits his old classmate who he bullied, apologising out of pure guilt. I feel like we've all been there at one point in our lives, where we've done something we need to make peace with, asking for forgiveness for those you've affected. But what's also equally important is to forgive yourself. And then episode 12 rolls around the corner. And this episode has themes of pain and non-friendly YouTube themes. We are introduced to Jeff on a rainy night, writing a final goodbye note. He has been living in pain every single day, to which he grabs shirts out of his closet, turns on his car in the locked garage. It is only when his wife and child arrive home early that they are able to save him. This is juxtaposed with House's pain. In this episode, we have the classic number Your Pain sheet. Tedious as these sheets are, they feel non-genuine. Like, how can you, as a human being, categorize pain as a number? Taub takes a lot of offense from the character trying to end it, only because he speaks about a selfish person he knew when he was in university, who also did something similar. Which classes with Kutner's trying to find out answers of why Taub is the way he is. Which leads to Kutner getting an answer with Taub's denial that the person Taub knew who tried to end it was Taub himself. What's equally messed up in this episode is House's pain testing on the patient, only because of his own pain level. Episode 13 is a strange episode, because the more than anything it is Kutner trying to be responsible for the patient, while at the same time House finds the patient's naive and rather chipper attitude annoying, which again clashes with Kutner's innocence and caring manner, because Kutner finds the patient's view on life inspiring, even if it is naive. Episode 16. In this episode, House is happy and polite and pain-free, doing unusual things that House would never do. Everyone reacts strangely to this. He's polite to the parents and the patient, something House never is. Kutner was the first person to see this, no one else did. Kutner visits House's best friend, Dr. Wilson, which Wilson dismisses Kutner's concern. Later, Wilson and the Dean of Medicine, Dr. Lisa Cuddy, visit House in his office, which they think he is pretending to sleep, only to reveal he has stopped breathing and he barely has a pulse. They bring him back by shocking his system. This must have been a scary sight to see, especially for Kutner, who is immensely clever, and again caring. They believe House is on heroin, but later to reveal from an alcohol test by Wilson that House is really on methadone, and because of this he puts the patient in danger, because he was pain-free and happy. The next few episodes, House antagonizes Dr. Taub, making him miserable, and this puts a lot of stress on Kutner, because in episode 19 House is bullying Taub so much that he was close to firing him. Taub was fighting desperately for his job. Kutner solves the case, but lets Taub steal the credit. I imagine it was because he was fed up and tired of House's games, that he just wanted to be a friend to Taub. Kutner tries to get through to Taub, but Taub's dismissive and distant demeanour really pushed him away. Episode 20. Right from the get-go you see something that all the episodes did not. There's a lack of light. Things feel colder. Like the world we are stepping into is without warmth. Everyone is in the office, but Kutner is not there. Everyone wonders where he is. 13 and Foreman go to Kutner's place. I will be leaving a time code for the next segment, as I don't want to trigger anyone. But I also will only be using the audio for the segment of the episode.
Where are you going? House didn't ask us to find out where he wasn't.
If you want to climb a fifth floor fire escape...
This might be faster.
Kutner!
Man, boy, heaven. Surprised he ever leaves.
There's nothing on his calendar. His pager's still here.
Oh, God.
I need an ambulance at 410 Willis, apartment 5C. 28-year-old male, single gunshot wound to the right temple.
No pulse.
Alert Princeton Plainsboro, have a trauma unit ready. His pupils dilated, his head's whole.
Still no pulse. Come on, Kutner!
Let me try.
He's cold. Eric.
Kutner is no longer alive. Even I find the episode so real and raw and haunting, more so because I have had to experience loss like this, and it never gets easier. For those who are no longer with us, the shock is felt by everyone in the episode, except Taub, who is putting on a mask, as if he won't allow himself to grieve. House refuses to believe Kutner took his own life, overanalyzing everything in a cold manner. But what is equally as tragic is everyone on the team. They don't look at themselves, they just ask questions of why. Why would Kutner end his life? Instead of looking at themselves. That maybe is the episodes I have talked about, that they should be blaming themselves. But it is Taub, the one character at the end of the episode, finally breaks down in tears. Guilt, pain, everything finally arrives to the surface. The tragedy of Kutner, just like in real life, is we feel an emptiness when those we care about are no longer with us. And that is what is heartbreaking about Kutner, is his passing affects everyone, especially House, for it takes him down a path of psychosis brought on by his Vicodin addiction. Before I end the video, I just want to say, you are all doing amazing, even if you don't feel like you are. Just remember to keep fighting for happiness of living, even if it's in things you do, even if it's in yourself, or in others you care about. Depression is a war, and you will win because you are a fighter. That will be the end of the video. I apologise for such a heavy topic for a video. I promise the next few videos will be a bit more positive. But if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Until then, I am the Rising Fawn. Take care and good night.